Good evening and good Friday, everybody. Today on Out of the Darkness into the Light, we have a special guest. Her name is Kristy Estelle. And Kristy is I'm going to call her just a professional astrologer today. However, her background, guys, is immense. I'm just cover a few of it that I have right now, okay? She is a certified meditation instructor. She's a pharmacist. I didn't know that, Kristy. She's a spiritual life coach. She's written 5 books, everybody. Uh, Uplifting Astrology, Ditch Anxiety and Find Peace. I need to read that one. The Course, the Course Volume 2 and the Course Volume 3. It's like the blueprint. You can find her on Instagram at Kristy.Estelle Astrologer. She's on Facebook as well at Kristy Estelle. And she has a website, KristyEstelle.com. Check it out,
And
everyone.
YouTube. And YouTube.
On YouTube as well, same name. She's got it covered. We need to learn from her, I think, Linda.
I know.
We were working on Kristy. I have actually been working to get her on the show now for a little bit. We had a little bit of miscommunication early on when I think I sent an email to you, Kristy, and then it went to, no, I think I filled out a form online, but nonetheless, we got connected. And I had met Kristy, I want to say it was like the second week of January, close around that time. Some good friends of ours had, who's a really good friend of yours, Kristy, Julie Jones, shout out, and Cooper, had invited us to their house to do a reading with Kristy. Now, here's the deal. I have never done this before in my life, all right? And so my girlfriend said, hey, we got to go do this deal. Let's go. They're good friends as well. I said, yeah, I'm all in. And so we go to the house, and it was kind of cool how you just set it up, Kristy. I appreciate that. But pretty much out the gates, if you recall, Kristy, you were like with me, oh, you're Lenny. I can't wait to talk to you. I'm like, what's that mean? Am I right? And
Yes.
she goes, well, it's pretty strong to say the least here. I had no idea what that meant until we went down and talked. So Kristy took the couples each aside, and we spoke about our readings, and she was right. So most people's readings were kind of balanced, right, Kristy? And I'll let you describe mine if you recall. It was just boom to like one area. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
And
Well, and also you're a Virgo.
yes,
Full
I am.
disclosure, everyone. Lenny's a
Yeah.
Virgo.
Yep.
Uh,
September, baby.
yeah. And so the South Node is running through there. And that's some shifts, right? It's shifts in perspective. It's basically a cosmic reckoning in some ways where you recalibrate your system to where you want to go, to where your true north is.
And that hit
And
home because at that
that was you, Lenny,
oh, at
right
that
before
time,
Christmas, right before
oh my
Christmas.
God, you had no idea beforehand, but let's just say it was a actually macrocosm of my life at
Yeah,
that
it
time. And so
was.
when you showed me that chart, I was like, whoa, okay. It was like it was like an arrow, right? Just boom. I mean, everybody else kind of bounced, not me, boom. And so it kind of made sense to me, and I did kind of allude to Chris that yeah, there's stuff going on, good, bad, and different, but really at that point now it was just more positivity, things that you and I were working on, Linda, just all this stuff
Mhm.
going on. And
Yeah.
so it really hit home, and I enjoyed it. And I shared it with you, Linda, too, a little bit. I think I said to you, but I wanted to make sure that we get Kristy on because I think she's great. And Linda, you're into it as well. You're somewhat trained up in some of the readings, but I think you guys will hit it off. Obviously, we already have discussed beforehand. And so we're going to run with the guys. We hope you enjoy it. And so, at this point, Linda, I'm going to hand over to you, I think. Just kind of run with it, and you and Chris can talk. And like I told you earlier, I'm going to sit back and relax. I'll,
Uh,
I'll
right.
jump in. You know
Okay.
that.
Well, Christy, before we begin with questions, I just for the audience, because we never know who's going to be watching. Lenny and I really felt the call, actually this fall sometime, that it was time for us to stretch out of our comfort zone and help to create a collective of people that were like-minded, but also be those that could support those who are going through all kinds of things in their lives and not able to make that push past it, because we have an era right that we're going through right now where people are struggling, committing suicide at high rates, just all kinds of things, and they're not able to move forward. And so we just felt the need that we wanted people to become the best versions of themselves. And if we could do anything to support that with what we've been through, then we want to hold the space and help others to rise. And know that when we start creating groups and collectives of the light, people who, not saying you aren't still in darkness, but it's getting them toward that light, that we can find more peace and love and alignment in this era that we're in right now. So that's why we're here. And
That's
obviously
why we're
because of
here.
the
Part of the
beautiful
reason
work
we're
that
here.
you do, that's why we're here. So I have my first question. What was really what's been significant for you about your journey from dark to light that you would like to let the audience know about?
Yeah, that's a great question, especially because these times do feel a little chaotic, I think, and unanchoring. And really, I was a Corona bonus person going from kind of into my spiritual awakening. Um, I was a late bloomer, like nobody's business. So if any of your listeners out there are feeling like I'm behind, there's no such thing. There really isn't.
Agreed.
And, I talk to a lot of people that are in their 20s and they're already thinking about these spiritual concepts, and that's great, but
Yeah.
that was not me.
Likewise. I'm in
Right?
that boat, Kristy, for sure.
Mhm. So it didn't hit me until I was in my 40s and I started to meditate and I found this beautiful connection that I wanted to share with other people where I felt like I could use the breath to really anchor into myself and actually hear myself for the first time rather than getting lost in what I call the busy of the world. Busy was definitely my badge of honor in a 9 to 5 job for a really long
You
time.
think so with all of those? I mean, it's impressive. If you look, it's impressive to look at your background.
Oh,
I mean, it
thank
really
you.
is. I
It's
mean,
awesome.
I'm sorry, people usually tend to, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want others to know that just because you're on a single path, which a lot of people, that's what they are on, when you look at you, my goodness, your background is diverse. It's from medical to this. And so I want others to know that, hey, maybe you'll find your path now.
That's right.
Maybe you haven't been on the right path. So
Mhm.
kudos to you.
Well, thank you. My
Yeah.
mom thinks I'm
Big time.
collecting degrees, actually.
Yeah, sure.
You could be doing worse.
Yeah, better than going backwards.
Yeah. Most people are
But
doing worse than that, actually.
and I also want people to know that it doesn't have to take a lot of time to start to connect into yourself. Um, when I started meditating, there's a lot of literature out there about meditation now. But when I started, most people were doing it for 30 minutes or an hour, and that's great if you have the time to do that. But you can start with just a couple of breaths. I was starting at like 5 to 10 minutes a day, and it was connecting into myself. And then COVID happened. And
Mhm.
I felt like I got completely knocked off of my center, even with that meditation practice. So that's the other point I guess I want to make is that for me, it's been very evolutionary. Like it's always been seeking that next thing to open me up a little bit more and connect me. I think that's why I have so many tools in my toolbox is because there was always something else that opened up another layer for me. So I don't think that you need just one tool. You can start with that if that's what feels aligned for you. And I think people know at their center, like if this is my thing, if meditation is my thing. But it's always good to have a couple of tools in your toolbox when you need it.
Mhm.
Chris, that's a good point because I go back to COVID as well in that time period. And that's when I had my awakening, but I wasn't seeking it out per se. It hit me in the face, right?
Mhm.
To where I became aware that I couldn't deny it anymore. Things were happening around me that I was seeing for the first time. And of course, you did have a little time to kind of defrag from the daily grind and travel and stuff. That was part of it. But I think it was more than that because I was having dreams, vivid dreams. And then I was actually, things were happening during the day. I could tell when something might happen if Linda was going to call me, if she would. So it was wild, but it was during that same time period. So
Mhm.
I'm not sure what that means. Either we were chosen to wake up at that time or unchosen. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but that's when it really hit me as well, was during that COVID era.
Well,
So that's interesting.
don't you think, Lenny, that also what it caused was a pause in people's lives?
Absolutely.
And that pause is almost like taking a breath, that I don't know how else to say it, but there was a pause, and I think that it was very necessary. And when we look at what we have going on now, maybe that pause was necessary then for what we're going through now. Don't know, just
I
throwing
like to
that.
call that period for me, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times because what I was, waking up to wasn't all, rainbows and butterflies, unfortunately. So
No.
it is, but yeah, but either way, I'm glad it happened because I think if we didn't have that pause, as you call it, Linda, I might still be in that same rut, just going through life. So I'm glad it happened. It wasn't easy, but you make that point, Krista, where you actually chose to evolve and take your meditation next level, where I was kind of forced to, I think.
I
But
felt
either
like it was
way,
the cosmic 2x4, Lenny.
yeah, for sure. Well, I'm
Have
hard
you
headed.
ever,
No,
so
I meant for me too.
for the audience, Christy, have you, so as when you're talking about, you found you, let me start again, sorry. You moved to another kind of avenue, let's say, because you found an evolution and you found that it was anchoring you more and moving on. How did how did you how did you find each thing, or how did that flow go, or was it kind of like a puzzle piece that you were putting together?
It felt
How
like
did
I
it
just
go?
stumbled into things. I really truly feel like once you stop with that breath and listen to your own voice, it gets louder and louder and becomes that cosmic 2x4 that leads you exactly where you need to be. But the pause for me was very necessary. When I was just busy, 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 I didn't take the time to listen to that voice. And COVID kind of forced, I think, all of us to listen to that inner us that was uniquely us. And I think we started to recognize that voice, and that's the voice that led us to our next steps. So for me, I'd already had a burgeoning meditation practice.
Mhm.
I was already invested in sun sign astrology, but I needed more self-development to figure out what was going on around me, within myself, all of that development. And so I just attended a workshop online. It was a Unity workshop online. And I thought, I really like this. It's non-denominational. It's talking about having your own spiritual practice and not being invested in anybody else's practice. And that really appeals to me. Everybody having their own alignment with God, universe, whatever you want to call it. So that kind of started me on my next steps. And I guess the funniest story from that period was I was really on a path of discovery and I was reading A Course in Miracles. And for anybody not familiar with that book, it's basically about spirituality and it was channeled in the 70s. It's a very dense book if you haven't read it before. And I signed up for a group that was talking about A Course in Miracles. And this group was actually supposed to be closed. They really didn't have any room in the group. And I just popped in one night, like, hello. And they were like, what are you doing here? And they're people
Hello
I'm
there.
friends with to this day. So I think that that can happen, those kind of synchronicities of hope whenever we take the time to maybe go out a little bit more on a limb than we're used to doing.
Excellent.
No doubt.
Well, so I was listening to when you were visiting on the Healing podcast, and there was something that really, really hit home to me and really resonated with me when you said that as you work with your clients, you're calling in the guides, the client's guides. And I thought, oh, okay, this is exactly what I do when I'm doing a life force or before a life force energy healing. So tell me a little bit about your how that all came about for you, because I just find that just so special, because to me that means that you've got the higher power working for that client's highest good is how I
Exactly.
see that. I mean, if that's how you see it, but so tell me about that.
So I think you can call your guides, your helpers, your teachers, your angels. Um, so whenever I started to do readings, some friends started to just ask me to do readings, was how I started. And I thought, well, I'll just try this process. And I found that my process wasn't linear. So
Mhm.
it wasn't like I started with your sun sign, then I moved to your moon sign, then I moved to your rising sign, which is how a lot of astrologers work, and it's great. It works for them. But I found that people's guides were literally pointing me to different parts of their chart and saying, this is what you need to talk about. And I was like, really? But that's not the most aspected part of the chart. That's not the focal point. But very loud and clear, there would be this guidance to talk about this portion of the chart, and then a story would unfold, what I like to call the blueprint of the soul.
Mhm.
And so I started intentionally after that first experience, inviting people's guides into the reading before I would start. Usually about a day or two before I have a full reading, I'll call someone's guides in and ask for permission to chat. I've only had one experience where they wanted to vet me first, and that was fine. They eventually did, but in most experiences, your guides just want to talk to you so badly anyway and communicate. And so I ask the guides if we can speak, and then I ask that they direct me to the highest good, the highest information possible for that person at that time. It's an honor, it's a privilege, it's a sacred privilege for me to be able to do that kind of work.
For
I
sure.
think I think from my perspective, that sets you apart from a lot of other readers. And I have great friends, that are great astrology readers um and all of that. But to me, those who do that kind of connection, it just sets you apart. And I just think it's beautiful. So I just thought I have to mention it. I have to talk about it because I think it says a lot about the efficacy to me of your work for your client. And I want the audience to know that if they choose you to have a reading, that they're going to have an efficacy that won't be found other places.
Well, that's very
So
kind.
Absolutely.
yeah, it really went right to my heart. So
And
um
really finding an astrologer is kind of like finding a psychotherapist, right? You have to have that connection
absolutely.
with someone
You have
that
to
resonates
feel
with you.
you have to feel that trust, I think. It's just um and I've been blessed to meet several very, very good ones when I was doing my life force energy healing, path and that kind of thing. And so, I don't take any of that lightly. So it's interesting because I thought, I'm not sure I have time to really listen to that whole podcast, right? And but there was a reason I was supposed to listen to that point, I mean, it's just kind of like everything just kind of pushes you where you're supposed to go. And I thought, okay, that's what I needed to know. That's what I needed to know. So it was made it wonderful. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm just
So
having some thoughts.
Go
I'm having
ahead.
some thoughts right now, and Chrissy, I don't think you're aware. Maybe you are, but really, my our inspiration was from my best friend and Linda's son who passed away, and he was basically at this level in his life where, I mean, he was a spiritual guru himself. Linda, I would say, he was really into
And
Buddhism
that
and
is
meditation. He was actually teaching others, unbeknownst to me, how to become spiritual. So he would have been, man, all in on this, right, Linda?
oh,
And he
I
actually,
would
I mean,
bet
I
he's
think he was going to,
probably around somewhere now
oh, I know
because
he is. He's probably here right now,
just as a
supporting
caveat,
all of us.
Christy, that you may be interested in, but he we had to do some when he was younger, he had a lot of these breathing kind of problems. And so they thought he might be cystic fibrosis. So we did this patting. I don't know if you've had where we had to lay him upside down and pat him on the back and do all this. The idea was to loosen whatever was in there kind of thing.
Mucus and
And
stuff.
that
Yeah.
night, after the first start of it all, he was about between 3 and 4. And he said, "Am I dying?" I said, "No, they're just trying to figure out, you know." what's going on. And so he thought about it for a while. But then as he grew older, he said, Mom, I'm not going to live after my 40s.
Mm.
And I said, okay. He said, no, I'm not. So when we hit 40, I took a breath, well, we made it. But he only lived till 47. But he knew. See, he knew all those years. He knew.
But he
So
also figured things out too, almost by then.
that's true.
A lot out. Not everything. He was real close. He was next level compared to everyone around us, and he was into stuff that I know he wasn't even, unless you asked him, right, Linda, he wasn't going to speak about it. So I
Yeah.
mean, here's a guy, Chris. He traveled the world. He had friends, associates, biz all over the world, and you would never know it. He would never know it, right, Linda? It was awesome,
Yeah.
so fun. So
Yeah.
that's another reason we're kind of into the spiritual realm now. Obviously, I am too. Well, I've always been Christian, but there's a different type of spirituality, in my opinion, and I'm all in. We were talking earlier, Kristy, about I brought up to you, I think. I said and you said, well, you mentioned earlier that you and your husband were having a lot of pressure and headaches. I said, oh, all day today. And you said because of the solar flares, right?
Hmm.
Man, because it's different. It's not like a headache. I get migraines on occasion and I
Hmm.
get sinus, but this today was different.
It
I
almost
just,
feels
and then
like in your pineal gland.
yes, and my eyes were tired. I keep an eye drops in my eyes. I just did before we came on the show here, and it
Mhm.
just subsided. Thank God, about an hour ago. I'm like, okay, because I was like, I'm gonna. I didn't want to say anything yet. Linda was like, it's gonna be a struggle for me, and we all came together. So, and then last night, that moon that was out that I saw, at least I think you saw it too. What'd they call that moon? They got these names for these moons. I can't keep up.
Like the pink moon or something like that,
Pink,
It
probably.
was
pink, and
it
I've
was
also
cool.
heard the
It was orange
pastel.
though. It looked orange to me. I didn't see
The
any
Libra
pink in it.
moon, Libra full moon.
There
Mhm.
you go. Well, thanks a lot,
Mhm.
Libra Moon, causing these problems. We got storms moving in. But no, that was cool. And it was low for quite some, to me, it almost looked like the sun at one point. I took a picture of it. I'll send you guys after the show.
Mhm.
It was wild, but it was clear and nice. So that was pretty neat. I thought it had something to do with that. So,
But you
yeah,
you have three questions that you decided you wanted to ask. So I
I'm
think you
not
need.
there yet, Linda. I
Oh,
am not
okay.
there
All
yet.
right. All right.
Well,
One
first of
other,
all, the
mhm.
Libra full moon is all about relationships, and something that's kind of fun to do on a full moon, if you haven't before, is to write something down to release. Um, any full moon, but then the theme is whatever the astrological sign is. So if there's something in your relationship space that you're ready to release,
Mm.
kind of a good time. And usually 1 to 2 days afterwards, there's still some pretty big potency, as you saw last night, Lenny,
Oh,
with that energy.
unbelievable. I felt it. So can I still write some stuff down now? Is it too late?
Nope, it's not too
No,
late.
I don't think
I better
so.
Usually,
get on. I better get on this
Mhm.
ASAP, y'all.
Yeah, usually about 48
Fun.
hours, but it just
Good stuff.
decreases in potency. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
it was wild. Okay,
Mhm.
I had another thought before I get my questions here, and here's just something that
Oh, it was
I told
brave for
Linda as well. It seems to me with astrology, um, it's more of a female, heavily interested um, field versus males. Would you find that as well, Chris, or is that just me?
So what's interesting is probably the most well-known astrologers right now are male, and that's shifting. But there's a guy called Rick Levine, Levine, that you can find on YouTube, and he's been doing it for over 50 years. So as far as giving readings and astrologers, it's actually something that they've been doing for thousands of years. They actually used to, in medical schools, require astronomy and astrology. So
For
it was
sure.
considered a predominant science until about Newton times or so. Um, but as far as clients go, I have some of both, but probably more females
Hmm.
right now. And I really attribute that to probably like this divine feminine, divine masculine thing that we're working through as a collective right now.
That's Linda. We were talking about before the show.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Well, that's cool. Okay, so here's my question since I'm going to get them out there. Well, I've got about two, if you don't mind.
Not at
Because of
all.
your such diverse
I think you've got
background,
three.
how do you know that, Linda? Maybe I've added to it or taken stuff
Okay.
away. It's
Okay.
possible. You have a great background. It's very diverse. I guess the question that I had that I proposed Linda as well is, how do you think it all ties together for your clients having such a diverse background that, I mean, to me, it looks like they all would tie in somehow, but do you have a particular segment that you lean on more heavily than the other, or do you just kind of go off your experience and just use that towards your clients when you're giving readings or having sessions? It's just, I was curious about that.
I think foundationally, I'm always an astrologer. So,
Yeah,
for example, I teach dream work classes. We were talking a little bit about your dreams before, Lenny.
yeah,
How to work with your dreams as a spiritual practice. Also, something
absolutely.
I recommend. But I'll bring in Neptune, which is how we connect to some of our dreams, or the moon, for example, tapping
Mm,
into your subconscious, which really is activated in your dreams. So, foundationally, it always feeds back into astrology. But I find it's interesting, right? How our lives evolve and everything comes to for a purpose, right? Comes to a head for a purpose. So, I've taught medical students for a long time, so that prepared me to teach some of my classes. Um, Anchoring into that experience actually brings clients to me sometimes that are very cerebral, and so that helps me to connect with those clients in a way that they can relate to, I think. But foundationally, always astrology. I'm always bringing it into my conversations. I'm sure my friends are like, "Oh gosh, this girl's talking about things again."
Here we go. But
Well, I
you
was
know,
listening to your astro minutes
it's the
too.
truth.
Thank
That's
you.
cool. It's very cool. Those
Appreciate
little
that.
bullets.
Yeah, I do about a minute, minute and a half reel every day on Facebook just for to explain some of the energies of the day that are happening in real
Nice,
I
time.
love it.
nice. Very
I love
cool.
it. So, with those books that you've written, what was your motivation to actually get your experience and your thoughts down on pen and get books out there? You know, I
Well,
love it.
they say everybody has a book in them, right? Like everybody has a book that's just waiting to be written. You do, Lenny, you do, Linda, and I can't wait to
I'm
see what
waiting.
it comes out as. But for me, I'd been piecing together bits and pieces of the astrology piece for a long time. I've been studying sun sign astrology for over 30 years, so I had little bits and pieces. My motivation behind that particular book, which is called Uplifting Astrology, was that I really wanted to bring in the idea that astrology doesn't have to be doom and gloom. It can be a connection for you, a tool that you have in your pocket to help you navigate the energies. And right now is a classic time, right? There's a lot of chaos in the collective field. So having a sense of what energies are present in that field just helps you navigate your day. So I wanted to take that approach with that book. Now, that book required quite a bit of discipline on my part. It took a long time for me to actually put it together. The Ditch Anxiety and Find Peace book is about a quick meditation practice, using little quick exercises to get a practice started to support you. And that book was completely downloaded. I got a message while I was in meditation to write it, and the whole thing just came out very quickly. So I think each book was a little bit different. But the through line for all of my material is this, that spirituality doesn't have to be so complicated that you can't connect to it. Um, there can be a beautiful simplicity in spirituality that can light your heart up. And I think that that's the most important part to convey for me.
I love that.
Well said.
Well,
Well said.
and you heard the book came as a download.
That's the first
See,
one I'm going
that's,
to get, actually.
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
She said it's quick and down and dirty. That's what I need, man.
Mhm.
And like that title, too. Makes
Thank you.
sense to me. That's what I'm looking for. Less anxiety and more peace. So I appreciate that. Okay, for my final question, I feel like it's a game show, but it's not. Um, just two items, Kristy, that you would like for our audience, which is growing every day, to take away from today from this podcast.
Well, I think the first thing is inspired by you, Lenny. one of our conversations that we've had in the last couple of
Thank
days.
you.
And that is that you're never behind. You're always right on time, right where you need to be.
Wow.
Um, so that came from Lenny and I's conversation, and I think it's really important to anchor into that. Sometimes whenever you first delve into spirituality, it feels overwhelming, or it feels like everybody knows all of these things. I felt that way. Everybody knows all of these things that I don't have any idea about, but you're not behind. You're
Sure.
right on time, and all of the experiences. You can look at my background. I'm all over the place, right? So all of these
Love it.
experiences ended up supporting what I did later. And so it is true for every single experience every one of your listeners has had. It's perfect timing. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is you're never done.
I agree. Yes, that's important, I think.
Mhm.
Truth.
Yes.
Never,
Um,
never done.
It's an onion. So you're always peeling back another layer, and astrology is just one of the tools that can help support you in peeling back some of those layers to self-discovery. I really love how astrology connects you to this validated part of yourself that you've always known. It's just that light within you you're rediscovering.
Wow.
That is so
That's
cool.
awesome.
So
Hmm.
for someone who would want to, do you mind sharing with the audience about how they could book with you? You know, something that, because I want them to be able to know. I know Lenny gave it out at the beginning, but also just kind of
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what it would be like, because I'm very
Yeah.
jealous that you got to go to and have a
Hey,
reading done.
I was
I'm
invited. I
very
mean,
jealous.
I didn't set it up, but
I
I guess
know
you kind of
what
say
a divine thing.
I was almost forced to go, to be honest with you, because I had a lot of stuff going on. I'm like, I don't know, man, if I could do this guy. But I want to see our friends anyways. And I'm like, yeah, it was kind of just after around the holiday time. Like, let's get it in.
Oh, I
So,
think
so
it's
glad I
fabulous.
went. So glad I
Yeah.
went. It changed
Wow.
some stuff in my life, man, for real.
Oh, just so wonderful to hear. Um, Well, essentially, you can book online at Kristy Estelle, it's with a K and a Y.com. And I have a booking site there. You can do it virtually, you can do it in person. Most people do it virtually. The first reading, I usually recommend the longer reading just because there's so much information to get out. And then people often do a solar return chart, which is a whole other thing. So once a year on your birthday, it's like you get a brand new chart for the year. So you can think of your natal chart as a book, and then your solar return chart as one page in that book. Just a picture of your chart for the year. So some people do both of those things. I met Lenny at an astro party where essentially I gave mini readings to four people at that particular event, and sometimes we do those too, depending on whatever the client is looking for to connect with.
It was so
Also,
fun.
I go to several events around Kansas City. Sorry, Linda.
Oh,
Um, and so I often on my events page, those will be listed. I have one coming up, Women's Rising. It's an women's empowerment
right.
conference at Unity Village on the 18th, where I'll be doing mini readings and breakout classes about the elements.
That is so
Man,
cool. Very, very
awesome.
nice.
Mhm. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. And if you don't mind, we'll promote you as well, Christy, through our channels and YouTube, if you're okay with that. I mean,
Yes, that would be great.
I don't think
There's
it'll hurt
also
you.
the free astrology Astro Minute every day if you want to get a taste and see if astrology is aligned for you on my Facebook page and YouTube. You can check those
Yeah,
out for
that's
free.
really cool. I've checked into that.
Hmm.
And that's a
Well,
lot. I mean,
Linda, I mean, we've covered a lot today. And how'd you feel about it, Linda? I mean, I knew it'd be great, but
oh,
you
I've
know,
you know, I've been excited about
I know you
about
have. You've been all
it.
giddy about it,
And,
Christy. I'm like,
and I was trying to, I was doing a lot of stalking and checking out because I thought I
yeah.
really wanted to, and I was jealous because I know you'd had that reading and I thought, oh my gosh. And then the more I got to checking into the website and YouTube and then listening to the podcast, I thought, oh, I'm left out.
Yeah, and maybe we could have you back, maybe Christy, later on, where we do some updates and see how other people progressed, and just kind of have you as a quasi regular, if you're okay with that. depending how
Yeah,
things
that
go
would be
with our
fun.
stuff. But we'd love to have you back. I know we just touched the surface here, anyways. But
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we typically like to end the show by leaving something for the audience to grasp onto, to learn from it, to implement their own lives. And today, it's really pretty simple, guys. I'm a testament to it. Be open to the idea. Um, again, especially some of those males out there, because if you're open to new ideas in this realm, it really could possibly change your whole trajectory. It has, if it did it before, it kickstarted it to a whole new level quicker for me. And so, reach out to Kristy, get involved with it, study up, check out some of the books. I know I'm going to ASAP, especially that download one, shorter one. So loved it. I thought it was a great show today, guys. And Kristy, I appreciate you so much for coming on. And I'm glad we got together. Like you said, the timing was, I guess it was perfect, wasn't it? So
It was.
I
Thank you
love
so
when a
much
good
for
plan
having
comes
me.
together. Thank you. Linda, what do you got?
Well, I want to thank you for accepting and for being willing to participate in this. And I'm just thrilled that I have someone now that I can connect with in a different way. And so
Absolutely.
it's exciting, I think, because you just never, there's always a new perception, there's always a new way to learn. And my whole thing is I don't want anyone to stop learning. We all get stuck, right? We all get stuck. I mean, I have a story about how mine began, and we get stuck, but just never stop learning and never stop being willing and open to listen to what others have that you don't. We're just trying to bring all these different ideas and things so that we can help people grow and change and know that you can reinvent yourself and transform when you're willing to open up to all of these new things.
Facts.
Always
I mean,
expansive.
I wouldn't have made it through what I've made it through without it.
Likewise.
So
Mhm.
I just so thankful that you're here today. It's been really nice meeting you.
It's been such
Absolutely.
a privilege to get to meet you, Linda, and to get to see you again, Lindy.
Likewise.
Lenny.
I like Lindy too. No, we
It's
appreciate it,
like
Kristy. Thank you so
it's
much.
those two combo names,
I
right?
know, right?
So okay, Lenny's giving a shout out today to all males. No, we're not leaving females out, but all
No,
males.
I'm not. Not at
Let's
all.
let's take a little look at your feminine side and your masculine side. Because yes, even as women, we have our feminine and we have our masculine side, and sometimes one comes out more than the other. But kind of nudge into be like my son and nudge into that feminine side a little bit. And I think you'll be surprised at how well your partner, your people around you will start seeing you in a different
Mhm.
light, which is
I
always
agree.
cool.
Absolutely.
Okay,
All
so
right,
we're going to
y'all.
instant premiere this as soon as we can get everything uploaded and ready to go. So it'll be instant premiered tonight. Is that right,
Good
Lenny?
Friday launch. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's perfect that it's Good Friday. I
Yeah,
do.
have a
This is
happy Easter,
so fun.
everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Hopefully, the weather holds up for us. And again, thank you, Kristy, so
Yeah,
much. Good to
thank
see
you
you
so
too.
much, Christy.
Good to see you. Bye,
Thanks, Linda.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
See ya.